All right, well, welcome to 5,000 Miles. Here this week, we are going to be talking about Rick and Morty, Season 8, Episode 7. We are rapidly approaching the end of the new season. Happy to
Seven,
be
baby.
7 down. Happy to be talking to you all the way across this ocean, Vincent. How did you feel about this week's episode?
I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was great. And
Yeah.
you will probably be very surprised to hear that the internet, half of the people online liked it and half of the people hated it. Some people said it was the best episode, and other people said it was the worst episode of all time. So there you go.
Holy crap, the internet doesn't agree on something? That's bananas.
Can you believe that the Rick and Morty fan base can't agree on whether it's the best or worst episode of all time?
Get on out of here with these eye holes.
I'm the only one who's allowed to have eye holes. So I
Yeah.
I really liked this episode because one of the reasons why I think a lot of people were very critical about the story train episode in particular was because I think that they felt that the creators were being a little too heavy-handed about clapping back at the fans for being too critical about the show or being too toxic of a fan base. But I think that this episode really had a nice balance of commenting on toxic crybaby fan bases in general without being too harsh about the Rick and Morty fans particularly.
Still, I admit it, making movies is hard. From now on, I'm just gonna be an impossible to please fan.
You said it. Let's go troll some comment section.
So yeah, as always, brief synopsis. Rick and Morty are watching their movie franchise that they're super into that's based upon these tree characters. They're not happy with what they're seeing. Rick makes a machine so they can jump inside the machine themselves and influence how the movie is told. Jerry has some influence on it, and it plays out from there. I will say this, that I'm unfortunately, although I'm diehard Rick and Morty, I really not all that stoked on superhero shit, man. I stick a toe in. I try to know what's what. So if we're gonna break Zack Snyder and what's his name, Gunn, what's his first name?
James Gunn.
If we're gonna break their balls, that's all fine and well. Maybe they deserve it, but I'm not
But
gonna
I
have
don't
too
I
much of an
actually
opinion
think
on
that
how accurate it was.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I think that it was not them trying to break their balls in particular, but to have some good-natured ribbing. And I felt that this episode actually let them off the hook. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but Zack Snyder and James Gunn both voiced themselves in this episode.
Yo, James Gunn.
Oh, hi, Zack Snyder.
Just saw your new cut of Superman, and word of advice, he's the man of steel, not the man of conversation.
So that's
I
their
believed that to be true. I wasn't 100% sure. So
yes.
they were in
So
on it. And I mean, they do take a point. At one point, the Rick and Morty writers do make a comment on, yo, writing movies is tough, dude. So for all you fucking
yeah,
people who
because
think you can just do it, it's hard and there's rewrites and it's difficult and it's much more difficult once you're inside of it.
It says the script is 3,000 pages and counting. Also, there's an error thing bleeping that says antagonist not found and no third act.
To understand it.
and it's a
This
lot
shit's tough.
harder. It's almost impossible to please an entire fan base, especially when there's so much to be gained from people on the internet. There's so much clout to be had from just tearing things down. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
There's this whole sort of culture nowadays of people just complaining and tearing things down when they don't have the ability to do it themselves. And also, it's easier to just say that something's terrible to get clicks, or to just tear people down for their work without giving them anything about like what you actually like, without saying what you actually want to see or how to make things better. And I think
Yeah.
Rick started off as being sort of like this complainer person. He literally pisses on the TV,
Which I got a
but
huge
then
kick out of, by the way. He's like, I don't know what to do with these feelings.
yeah, but then by the end, he's sort of letting them off the hook by saying like, "Hey, you know what? This wasn't as easy as I thought it was gonna be." And then it turns out that James Gunn was actually going to have the cactus guy kill Tenenbaum at
Yeah.
the end of the episode, and so that was like sort of what he wanted anyway. So it's one thing to complain about your fans, but it's another thing to just take a step back and be able to acknowledge the fact that content creators nowadays are living in a world that for most of the period of making TV and movies, people didn't have to deal with the direct criticism of their fans. And
Yeah,
and
that's a really good
people
point.
voicing outrage, where it's now the norm. You know what I mean? And everybody's a critic, and everybody thinks that they know what's best, and everybody's quick to say that somebody's ruining my favorite franchise, or they're ruining my childhood or whatever. Morty literally says that you're ruining my childhood, which is still ongoing. But
Yeah.
I think this was a very fair and balanced look at the whole scenario, and I thought it was cool that Rick and Morty kind of let James Gunn and Zack Snyder off the hook a little bit.
Yeah, if I may step outside of the Rick and Morty conversation, I will say as a burgeoning content creator to all these negative people out there, I thought before I started I'd get a kick out of saying, this band sucks, this thing sucks, whatever, ha ha ha. But when I actually got on the front line and wanted to make my opinions known, I realized, you know what? I don't like talking about things I don't like. So you people chill the fuck out, would you?
It's easy to say that a new Star Wars movie was garbage, but it's a lot harder to actually go make a Star Wars movie. This episode actually had a couple like laugh out loud moments as well, like when Rick was pissing on the TV,
Yeah.
when Tenenbaum, which I thought it was funny that his name was Tenenbaum and it was like a little Christmas tree.
For sure, for
Um,
sure.
I thought it was funny when he goes, "Oh, I gotta go take a shower now because I'm all stinky." There's just a lot of like goofy jokes in there.
Dude,
I liked when
The Bare Naked Ladies song made me laugh right out of the gate.
the Bare Naked Ladies song parody at the end of the episode is super funny, especially if you have the chance to like throw on the subtitles or listen to the actual lyrics. It's super funny. It's talking about the Tree franchise, but then it's also talking about like, oh, if the movie doesn't do good in America, we can always like release it in Japan. Like, it's a lot of inside baseball this episode.
Let me hit you with a quick off the top of your head, and this isn't a die and like a straight up trivia question, but I will be interested in hear what your response to this question is. You ready? And I encourage the audience to try and get this as well. With a superhero franchise, right? In this case, it's the trees, whatever they call them.
Maximum Velocity. For people that don't know, James Gunn is involved with the Marvel franchises. He's a writer, producer, director of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, which he has a big hand in.
Which is one of the
And
good
so
ones.
and so this episode is making fun of large action franchises. They are ripping on Marvel a little bit, but they're also sort of making fun of like Fast and the Furious and stuff like that.
So the question is, can you name three other occasions, and there may be more, but can you name three other occasions when we in the Rick and Morty universe have Rick and Morty have confronted and or interact with groups of superheroes or the like?
Okay, well, there's the Vindicators.
Vindicators, ding ding ding.
So that the one that Rick and Morty did that we saw was technically that was Vindicators 3.
Right, right, right.
We Rick and Morty were not involved in Vindicators 2. They were involved in Vindicators 1, but we as
Privy.
the audience members were not privy to seeing that one in particular.
They could always do that as a throwback. Do a Vindicators one and see what happened in it. That would be freaking cool.
And then so there's another time where they interacted with a group of superheroes.
Well, there's at least two. Think about, I'll give you a clue. Clue to the audience as well. Ocean's 11.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I guess technically those would be considered somewhat superheroes. The heist group that they put
Heist,
together.
the Heistatron group and all of that.
Yeah, and so that was them putting the heist squad together. And what was the fallen archer was the guy with the arrows with the feet on them. I guess he was kind of a superhero.
There was a bunch of them. There was a bunch in that. We must have met 15 of them in that episode. And then,
And that
oh,
was another episode where we had a cameo from a real life person. So Elon Musk, before he became a Nazi, was actually in that episode as well. And that was one of the first times that we had an appearance from like a live person, like a real person. And so in this episode, it was James Gunn and Zack Snyder.
Elon Tusk.
Yeah, he played Elon Tusk.
But then Christian Slater was the main dude in Vindicators.
That's right.
Um, but the last one that I was looking for was they collect a group of robots and they are trying to fit them together. Rick,
Oh,
they're
you're
all
talking about
different
the Gotron,
colors.
the
Yeah, the
Gotron
Gotrons.
episodes?
The
Yeah.
Gotrons. So I just love when I'm trying to peel apart what the episode's going to be about, and it's like, oh, okay, we got a group of superheroes, and then my head goes, Vindicators, Heistatron, GoBots, and just like, okay, we're in those realm of episodes if you want to paint it with that brush. Thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. And there was a lot of funny things in this episode. I thought it was funny when Rick said that he made the movie Lizer during the opening title sequence.
Whoa, what's that?
The Movie-lizer! It makes movies at the speed of thought. I invented it during the title sequence.
Thank you. I was going to say
So
the meta moment of the episode is when we come back and he goes, I invented it during the title sequence. Love it.
yeah. And this episode directly deals, it has a lot of points that are directly dealing with the idea of writing a script and designing a plot. And the movie Lizer, if you watch at a certain point, it has like that circle where it's like, okay, this is the first act, this is the second act, and the third act, and it's like they got to go do this thing and then get the thing and then come back and there's change. That is taken directly from, everybody knows that Dan Harmon famously created the story circle, which
It's like
is a tool.
7 points. Is it 7 points on the
I
circle
think it's
Dan?
7 or 8 points, and it
Yeah.
has to do with how to design like a cyclical story. And yeah, that was directly from Dan Harmon's story circle.
Yeah, very cool. And it needed to keep its arc. I liked the image of like, it's losing its arc. It's straight lining.
Guys, I'm back. Jeez, Louise, what did you do? The story's gone linear.
We pissed off the good guys and the bad guys.
It's
Yeah,
flatlining.
Jerry's like, the story's going linear.
It's flat.
And
Oh,
so
yeah, it's
it-
going linear. That's right.
It was really cool to see Jerry be involved in this episode, although he did he did have an unfortunate run in with some raptors at the very end.
Guys, you still there? Oh no. Dear God, what is that? Oh, stop! Let go of me!
Oh my God. All right. So can we? I wanted to say to you, I was going to save this till a little later, but since you brought it up, any chance that the raptor that was raping Jerry was Photography Raptor?
It's very possible because Summer would definitely remember Photography Raptor, and if she's writing porn, raptor porn on the side, there's no
Oh,
reason
God.
why Photography Raptor couldn't be involved in that.
I want Photography Raptor to be the one that was raping Jerry. Okay, I'm going on record. Some other laugh out
So
loud
dumb.
moments. Yeah, dude. Well, as soon as I heard Raptor again, same thing went to Photography Raptor. But
So since we're talking about the tag, that raptor incident took place in, Jerry was supposed to be in Space Jam 7, and this is just another instance of Rick and Morty ripping on Space Jam. I don't think they're ever going to stop apologizing for the Rick and Morty cameo that they had in Space Jam, because they've referenced Space Jam multiple times since they were in the Space Jam movie with LeBron James.
yeah, they're
And
just trying
so-
to stick the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah, I think that Rick and Morty are never going to live that down, and so this will probably not be the last time that we see them making fun of Space Jam as well.
So let me give you a couple of just little moments that crack me up. First of all, when they break into Gunn's office and his first act is to like chuck the desk up out of the ceiling.
Like up into the sky, that was funny.
But the fact
He
that
goes, "Hey, Bradley Cooper, carve that desk."
and then when it dropped back down, that's what cracked me up because Rick just threw it straight up in the air.
I'll get an Uber.
And it was up there.
Yeah, and then they go
forever.
through the portal and leave Jerry there, and he's like, "I'll get an Uber."
I'll get an Uber. Yeah, that part cracked me up as well.
I really liked seeing the fight sequence that they had in jail when he's breaking Tenenbaum out of jail. And I thought it was really cool that Rick started out hating that character, Tenenbaum, and he only broke him out of jail so he could take him to go get killed. But in the course of events, Rick really starts to like Tenenbaum as a character.
To Morty's dismay.
I like that sequence when he's breaking them out of jail, and it was really cool to see Rick starting to bond with a character that at first he hated. And
Yeah,
he did say he started out the episode watching the movie and telling Tenenbaum to die.
Yeah, but Rick came around. He's like, that was pretty cool. That was
Rick
pretty
came
cool
around.
too.
Oh, holy shit! That was awesome! And so is that.
That shows a little bit of character arc.
Yeah, we also see Morty physically dominating Rick again. He's got
Yeah.
him down. He's jacking him up again. I'm like, this is the second or third time in this season that Rick's just laying down
Although
and taking it from Morty.
if you watch that scene though, Rick is just kind of sitting there and letting Morty do it because we all
Yeah,
know that if Rick wanted to dominate Morty physically, he could. But it's nice that he's like letting Morty express some of his anger without going over the top.
he's making a habit out of it, apparently. I got another like oddly specific one, and I don't know if you're gonna vibe with this one, but when Morty becomes Son of Thistle, I guess is what it was, right?
Yes.
So when he first shows up to his minions, who they later call weeds, which I thought was funny. They're like, oh, they're his weeds.
Yeah.
His minions were weeds, but that was funny. But when he's first confronting that group as the new bad guy, and they're accepting him, I think the guy goes, or one of the dudes, maybe it was Samantha, goes, well, his head looks like a cactus. That's all the proof I need.
I am the son of Thistle.
He does sort of have the same jacket.
And his head is also a cactus.
That's all the proof I need.
And that was it.
He's wearing the same jacket.
Right. So we get this joke from this unknown character, and it reminded me, for some reason, right off the top of my head, of when in Morty's Mind Blowers, when he comes back in and we get that line from that character at the funeral from Mr. Loomis. He's like, yeah, some people said he kind of looked like a smudge. And for some
Smudge
reason,
on the lens.
a smudge on the damn lens. But that getting a funny line like that, the smudge on a lens line from a completely unknown one-liner character, that was kind of a parallel here. We get this funny, that's all the proof I need line from this completely unknown character. So a fair parallel or not, that is where my brain went.
I liked seeing them falling off into the death ray at the end. It reminded me of the Vat of Acid episode where he kind of like grabs Morty and they both jump to their deaths.
Yeah, not knowing if they're gonna live.
I also liked the chase sequence that we got to see that where they showed up in New York for no reason and then they're driving the Lamborghini around New York.
That was the best Jerry could come up with.
That was the best Jerry could come up with. Jerry on Adderall.
Yeah, right. And,
Who,
and
to Jerry's credit, it was nice to see that not only did they let Jerry have a hand in this episode and the way things that played out, but he actually did, to Jerry's credit, he got them out of the situation. He got them out of the jam and helped them find their way back. And it really made me laugh when it was James Gunn's tears on the keyboard that kind of knocked them out back into reality. That really made me laugh as well.
that was pretty clever.
So yeah, a lot of funny moments in there.
I got an absolute, it's a cheap line, but they set up the Adderall joke about don't forget to blink.
Wow, Dad, looks like us dying really affected you.
No, he just forgot to blink.
And then when
yeah.
they come out, Jerry's sitting there like, he said something like, are you okay? Or whatever. He's like, no, I just forgot to blink.
Yeah, because his eyes were all teary.
Too dumb to remember how to freaking blink. So if it's fair, I know that we touched on it earlier about like kind of the point of the episode and how difficult it is to write. So that would bring me to, I just jotted down that my favorite line in the episode was, and I quote, any idiot can plug an idea into a machine when they don't care what it spits back out.
Any idiot can plug an idea into a machine when they don't care what it spits back out, but it takes a special kind of idiot to get on the keys and write us an ending.
Does that kind
Yeah.
of sum up what they're getting at? You know, when they said that, I thought that was kind of like the bottom line of the episode.
Yeah.
You know,
And also, I think it was kind of ripping on AI a little bit as well, because there's so much AI slop out there right now that
call.
any idiot can just type something into AI and have it produce something, but it takes a special kind of idiot like Jerry to get on there and actually type an ending for them, which is what they needed in that moment.
the right kind of idiot, and that's what Jerry
Yeah.
fulfilled. So I think that might bring us to this week's segment.
So
Did you
I'm gonna
guess that tag?
I am going to be completely honest. I did not have any idea what the tag was going to be. I thought that it might be some sort of like preview for the next Maximum Velocity movie, I didn't guess what it was going to be, but I was pleasantly surprised to see once again Summer just coming in at the very end of the episode.
Yeah, no, I got it this week, and
Oh, okay.
well, I mean, in a vague sense, and I'll tell you why, because I fucking sat there with it paused and thought about it, and the easy thing
You
to
thought about it
do,
for a little while of what it was going to be.
yeah, the easy thing to do, I think, was to guess Tannenbaum, but then I said to myself, he was just in the episode too much, so
Right.
I just said Summer, so yeah, I guess I got it in the vaguest sense. I just said Summer, click, got
Yeah,
it.
Summer and the Movielizer.
Yeah.
If you had something with Summer and the Movielizer, then I would give you credit for guessing the tag this week.
Yeah, if you have any other Easter eggs that you want to throw light on before we get to where this episode ranked amongst this season's episodes, now would be
There
the
so
time.
this episode wasn't super Easter egg heavy. There was, if you look carefully during the chase sequence in New York, there's a quick little shot of like a Broadway musical, and the sign says Crapopolis, the musical. And we know that Crapopolis is another Dan Harmon show, which is on Fox.
Right.
Um, there was at the very end when the head of Warner Brothers, whose name is Mr. Brothers, shoots James Gunn with the Sunday gun.
I guess he's dead in the Rick and Morty universe, right?
James Gunn. I guess James Gunn is dead, unfortunately.
Chalked. Chalked.
Chalked. Yeah, you got him.
I love that term.
So that shot where James Gunn gets shot, and then they pan back a little bit, and he's kind of like laying on his side. That's a direct reference to a shot from the new Superman trailer. At the time that we're recording this, the new Superman movie hasn't come out yet, but it's getting ready to come out soon, which is
Yeah, really
probably
soon.
why they had this episode with James Gunn
Yeah, I meant to
this
mention that.
week.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we haven't seen the movie yet, but we have seen the trailer, and there's that exact shot of Superman in the snow laying on his side in the trailer. And so that's what that shot specifically was referencing.
Very
Um,
cool.
Not too many other Easter eggs in this episode, but I really love the fact that James Gunn and Zack Snyder played themselves in this episode. It just goes
Yeah.
to show that they had a good sense of humor about the whole thing.
You know what? And maybe Rick and Morty is getting to the point where, like South Park, people who get made fun of by South Park, at some point they started treating it like it was an honor. And maybe this is that.
Yeah.
Maybe this is people understanding that, like, yo, if Rick and Morty's fucking with us, lean into it.
Well, James Gunn posted, I believe, on his Twitter account this week that he said it was like a true honor to play. It was like his dream to play a villain in Rick and Morty.
Very cool.
And
I
so
love to hear that.
I don't know if he was 100% a villain, but yeah, he was kind of an antagonist
Yeah.
in this episode. And so we see that he must have been a big fan of the show too, because he was willing to come on and do it and laugh at himself. And he even posted on Twitter how much he was looking forward to doing it.
Well, that's very cool. If he was as jacked as Zack Snyder, maybe he could have picked up the Movilizer and got it out of the garage.
Jerry!
Fucking happy! Should have listened to Snyder.
Yeah, I thought that was funny where Zack Snyder literally told him, you're gonna regret not going to the gym like me." And then when he's
Yeah.
trying to pick up the Movielizer, he's like, "Oh, Zack Snyder was right."
Either way, check out the short. That's where all the Easter eggs are at. Save that shit as always. Please do.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So guys, every week we do the top 10 Easter eggs. There's a little short. So you can go check that out on the channel. That
Yeah.
one is already uploaded and ready to go. One other thing I'll give you, this is it was a little bit too convoluted to explain it completely in the shorts, in the short that I did. But at the very end, they show you at one point who was the writer of the new Velocitree script, and it said it was Alan Smith Tree, and that is a reference to Alan Smithy. And Alan Smithy is a pseudonym that's used by directors anytime they don't want their real name associated with a movie, like if they think that the movie is shitty or the they think that the production company changed their vision of the movie too much and they don't want to be associated with it. And so they not only was it written by Alan Smithy, but it was Smith Tree, so it was a velocitree, like tree related pun as well. So it kind of doubled, it kind of did it like a double little joke there.
Yeah, so all you kids out there, you take that little piece of knowledge and act like you came up with it yourself. That's a deep cut.
Yeah, it's a deep cut.
That's a deep cut from 5,000 miles is what that is.
All right, so where are you ranking this episode? There's 7 episodes so far.
I switched my ranking from last week after rewatching the episode. So
Okay.
my current new ranking is 1, 3, 2. That hasn't changed. 6, 7, 5, 4.
I think I would rank this one out of the 7. I think I would rank this one fourth. Still not as good as the first 3,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I'm going to rank it just slightly higher than
The Beth episode, the
than
Curious.
episode 4 through 6.
Gotcha.
Although I do like, wow, it's going to be a tough call because I really did like episode 6 a lot.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to rank this one just slightly higher than that one. Episode 6 be my fourth, and then this episode is going to be number 5 out of 7.
Oh, okay. So then we're in agreement, dude.
Yeah.
And except for the top 2. But the one, oh, Brandy wants to say hello to the audience.
Oh, hey, Brandy.
You know, a puppy. Come on, a puppy. Everybody likes to see a puppy. So it'll be really exciting to get to the end of the season, be able to rank all 10 of these officially. These are kind of unofficial rankings as we go. Everybody stay tuned for the Sinners review, which will be dropping in a couple of days. And then, of course, we will be back next week to do episode 8.
Can't wait, man. This season just feels like it's flying by. I can't believe that there's 7 episodes down already.
I know, but South Park and Always Sunny are on the horizon, baby. So they're going to give us something else to grab a hold of. So I'm excited.
Yeah, so we got tons of good content coming up. And yeah, go check out the shorts if you guys haven't seen those yet. And from me to you, that's the way the news goes.